Welcome back to AI Today. So we are talking about the unprecedented capital surge that we are seeing, all driven by AI and the infrastructure boom that's taking place. I want people to pay attention to this because it's not just the federal government, right? We are seeing a massive convergence of, public and private investment that is reshaping the entire sector. Now, if you look at, I got charts. If I was John Madden, I would have my little board, and we'd be drawing things all over the place. But I didn't think that was going to be helpful. But I want folks to be able to see what some of those implications are. And so I'm going to go through them, and you're going to see some data that I've been able to pull together. Because since President Trump took office in January, we have seen that coordinated push from Washington and Wall Street. You see the, Secretary of Commerce out there talking about of course, the AI first, America first AI strategy. And that was a $500 billion federal program. But private equity firms, sovereign wealth funds, tech giants are just matching, and they are continuing to match, which has far exceeded really the federal investment that's taking place. And then if you think about the municipal investment, the local communities that are investing in these things, then broaden it out to the states and, everywhere in between, then you can start to see that there is a huge amount of money going into these. Now, I saw a Bloomberg report that said, Blackstone has committed $25 billion to their data center development. And that was just for 2025. And KKR, it was around 18 billion. That's a lot of money. And, even a recent, Wall Street Journal, analysis showed that private equity firms are collectively raising, almost $110 billion going into to Q3. That's a lot. And I can only imagine what that number is going to be going into Q4 and accelerating into 2026. There are projections, if here, that you can see that corporate CapEx is expanding. The federal investments are expanding. Now, I don't want to confuse folks, because the federal government for years have they've been driving a lot of this data center growth, but it's always been on their terms, on their land. DOE, in Oak Ridge, huge data centers. Out at Moffett Field, NASA's computational centers out there. Huntsville, Alabama, with the different sorts of investments that have taken place down at Redstone, right? And so the federal government has been investing in them for a long time. But I wanted to be more specific, because these data centers are almost going to be co-ops where public-private users could get access to it, or private companies can partner with the federal government to, there's one project I've seen where, at Oak Ridge, where they're going to join together with a private company and build one on Oak Ridge. So there's all these nuanced relationships that are taking place now that weren't there in the past. And, the executive orders that have been coming out recently are fast tracking a lot of these. And that's the amazing thing, because, as we have looked at spending, the only way that you can spend is if you have something that approved. And, there are correlations between the amount of money going up and the speed in which data centers are getting permits. It used to take about 18 to 24 months to get some sort of approval. And again, these investments are pretty impressive. But now, with the recent executive orders, now we're starting to see Data centers get approved in 6 months. I saw a Texas developer that was interviewed on Fox Business, and they confirmed that they were able to get it 4 times faster, 3 to 4 times faster than they were before under this administration and with these executive orders. And that's great when it comes to the users, and it's great when it comes to the model developers, but there are also ramifications, as well. The private push is really just the returns on these data centers are extraordinary. And, a Morgan Stanley report said that, they're seeing as much as 35% returns over the past year just with that. And private equity firms are seeing, 25 to 30% on returns on their data center investments. And, really, people are seeing this as a compelling investment opportunity that hasn't been there since the internet boom. Now, that should scare people a little bit because we all know what happened to the internet boom, right? We had the bubble, and the bubble burst, and we may see the same thing because, as we talked about, the growth of data centers and the importance of those and the ability for those to run and power our, hungry AI models is going to be how much power we can have. And I believe that is really going to drive what some of the those demands are going to look like. And what we're doing is you'll start to see. So I want you to stay with us because I put this up here so that you could see a little bit of a taste of what we're going to talk about in the next segment. We're going to talk about some of these infrastructure investment packages that states are providing. We're going to address what some of the other key pieces are that go into that. And we want you to come back because we're also going to talk about, some foreign country investment that we're starting to see as well because they're moving money into the U.S. So it's important. So stay with us. We'll be back after a few messages from our sponsors.